what did you anticipate being the most difficult thing that was actually easier than you thought?
Maybe starting with the development. I thought that not knowing about the actual systems that we are using or how we could tackle those different situations without having the knowledge, at first it's like facing this big giant because you don't know where to start, which is the head, which are the feet, and you're like, where do we start? But once you start, everything flows. Once you have the courage to pass those walls that sometimes one mm, you tend to put because you don't have the knowledge or you think this is going to be too hard. I don't want to try. No, it's about that, right? Once you start with the development, especially with Unreal, because of how it works, it gets easier among time.
You really jumped into the process with a good attitude, and it's really nice to hear that things are getting easier rather than harder, which is really nice. I always speak with gamers, and they always remember the first video game they played, and they always remember that first moment. So whether they were playing with friends, or whether they were playing with an older sibling, or whether they just started playing themselves. So can you tell us how you started playing video games?
In my case, I start playing video games when I have 4 years old with my brother. And the first game that I remember I played was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for Sega Genesis. And it's one of my favorite games at the time.
Do you still play that game now?
Yeah, for sure. Every time.
Can you tell us a little bit about what exact research you do to develop the character story? And additionally to that, can you tell us which one is your favorite character and why?
I will say my favorite character is Ray because he's the main character. And for example, something that we did was we created Ray's profile, for example, based on the different stories of people who have suffered depression and post-traumatic stress in order to create a deeper story. So all the game and all the characters have a lot of background.
Why aliens? So they're wearing alien masks, so I don't know if they're humans or if they're actually aliens, but what's the concept behind the aliens and the alien masks?
Well, it's because there were not a lot of games that were psychological horror games with the alien theme, right? That's something that we love. I mean, we love all the paranormal stuff. We have a lot of things that we love on those sides. Also, we love about the alien stories. But when we created the game, this was for a game jam that happened back in February. That's the theme horror jam. And at that moment, I thought that why not? I mean, there were not many games. At that moment, there were no games, no new games, even indie games that were created around that subject. Maybe one or two, but not very popular at that specific moment. So I thought, why don't we create something that's deep and it's not something that you can see every day, right? You can see a lot of games about ghosts, but not about this specific story. So I thought maybe this will be the best way to create something that we would love to see, that we'd love to play, and to do the effort to create something that people that things like us that would like to see a game about these themes that would love to play too.
I completely get that, and I think that's really cool. And I personally love aliens and anything to do with space, so I think it's so cool. Before we get to the next scene, I think there are a couple of things that I really liked in the first scene. I really liked how there were duplicate Amy's throughout the house, specifically when she goes downstairs and she's dancing. It made me laugh, actually. So what's the meaning of having duplicate Amy's throughout the house in the cabin scene?
Well, it's part of getting to know Amy, right? Like Amy had different moods, and Ray experienced Amy in different ways, right? So you will see Amy through Ray's eyes. That's how he saw her. Sometimes angry, sometimes happy, sometimes being playful, like dancing, when dancing, for example. So that's the whole idea behind it.
It's cool that when you walk up to her, she vanishes too. So it provides the illusion that, yeah, she's gone. She's not really there, which is really cool. When you walk downstairs, you start to see the alien men through the windows. So I'm assuming that that's not random. So what is the purpose to be able to see the alien men through the window?
Well, it's the whole idea that you are being watched all the time, right? Even though you're walking through race memories, right? They are watching you. We don't know who they are, but they are there. In every step that you take, you will see that they, and you will feel them.
Yes, you do. It definitely sets the tone and sets the mood for what's about to happen, which I completely appreciate it. It's great. So you are a horror lover. So have you got any recommendation for good horror movies for the viewers to go and check out? One or two recommendations, or and why you like those recommendations?
I will always recommend Asian films because they are psychological horror per se. So one of those films will be Kairo, that's from Japan. There's also an American version named Pulse, but watch Cairo. Cairo is the original one, and it has all the feeling. Maybe you won't see like a lot of jump scares or things like that, but you will go through the anxiety because this film it's specifically about the feeling of loneliness, right? The feeling of sadness when you feel lonely, when you feel helpless, and all of that's happening in the movie happens through internet because it was there when internet more or less started was around 2000 I think if I'm not wrong. So it goes around that idea that how scary or how things can go wrong when you feel lonely, when you feel all that sadness, and it's very deep, right? If you follow the story, it's really deep.
Have you got any advice for anyone wanting to make a video game?
Yeah, in my case, I will say have a lot of patience because it's a so long, hard work. It's insane. It's insane. So I will say that.
Are you a patient person?
No, but I try.
Either. That's why I get so frustrated with video games. I think a lot of good video game players or a lot of gamers are patient, and I'm not patient. What about yourself, Diego? Any advice for anyone wanting to start a video game?
Yeah, follow your passion. Don't think that it's going to be difficult. Things are difficult anyway. Life is difficult, but you have always to start and to do things in a positive manner, right? So don't stop. Don't stop. Even if you think the wall is too big, try to jump it. That's the main thing.
Oh, I love that. Very inspirational.